Have you ever had that feeling? Somebody has booked an appointment on your calendar, a potential client. You're excited for the moment that you're going to jump on Zoom or pick up the phone, have a conversation with that person, and hopefully enroll them into your program. But what actually ends up happening is a 60 to 90 minute conversation that ends with the person saying no, with saying they're not interested, or saying let me think about it, and they completely ghost you. What I want to share with you in today's video are 7 things you are likely doing wrong that is leading you to getting no's on the phone. And if you correct these 7 things, you will be converting and closing more clients than you can handle. So we're going to jump straight into the list, and I think the final 2 are really going to surprise you, because most people are making these mistakes and they have no idea they're even making them. Now, interestingly enough, the first mistake that you might be making that is keeping you from converting prospects into clients actually has nothing to do with the words that you are saying on the phone or on Zoom. Now, a video like this on YouTube, you're expecting to get some corrections to a phone script or subtle things that you should be saying throughout the conversation, and some of those things are coming. However, this first one has absolutely nothing to do with the conversation itself. Your first mistake might be that you are speaking to unqualified prospects. This is the first thing you should be looking at if you're not converting enough clients. You might be on the phone with people you should never have been on the phone with. An example would be people referring you business, right? A friend of yours says, "Oh, Jack, by the way, I've got a friend of mine that I think might be interested in what it is you've got going on. Maybe I should connect the two of you." And so you connect on a Facebook message or an email, and before you know it, you're on the phone with that person to figure out if you can even help. That is wasting your time, and it's no surprise it's leading to a no, because they are so far away from being in a position to make a buying decision. And before getting on the phone, you had no idea if they're even a potential client for you, or even fall into the category of your dream avatar. You've got to have gatekeepers in place to protect your time and protect you from unqualified people. What I do with this is use something called a webinar funnel. A webinar funnel has multiple steps in the process that someone has to move through to eventually get to a point where they can get on the phone with a member of my team. And there are so many built-in moments where they could drop off, and that is by design. We actually want the wrong people to drop off, and we want the right people to progress forwards. And the second reason why you might not be closing on the phone, again, has nothing to do with what you say on the conversation. It has everything to do with who is on the phone with you. The first thing we need to look for is unqualified people. The second thing we have to look for is, have they been indoctrinated enough into your topic, into who you are and what you do, and have you built some buyer demand before they get on the phone with you? There's something I call the conversion timeline, right? Let's imagine someone at a 0 has no idea who you are, they've never heard of you before. And a 10 is they are ready to just throw cash at you. They cannot wait to become a client. Well, we often get on the phone with people when they're only a 2 or a 3. Maybe we've done a little bit of messaging back and forth. Maybe we've sent them a little bit of information, which gets them up to a 1, 2, or a 3. They know you a bit more. They kind of got an idea of what you're about. And now you're going to get on the phone with them to try and close the deal. But you've got to get them from a 2 to a 10. Or from a 3 to a 10. There's a lot of pressure on that phone conversation, so no wonder it's often ending in a no. The marketing game that we need to play is to get someone up to a 6, a 7, or an 8 before we ever get them on the phone. We want to be speaking to prospects who are already starting to make a decision about wanting to work with you before they ever even speak to you. And all we've then got to do is get them from a 7 to a 10, or an 8 to a 10. It makes the conversation so much easier, it makes it more enjoyable, and it makes it much easier for you to close the prospect. So how do we do that? Well, I'd point you back to a webinar funnel. This is why webinars work so well, because we take a lot of the stuff that we would have said on the phone conversation to get them from a 3 closer to a 10, and we put that into a webinar. We bake it into a webinar so that they have to watch that webinar before they get a chance to speak with us. And through watching that webinar, we're going to be building desire, we're going to be building authority, we're going to be building relationship with that prospect. They're going to feel like they've gotten to know us a little bit more. And then through those extra hoops that they have to jump through to actually get on the phone with you, by that point, they'll be at a 6 or a 7. And you'll find that if you do this, if you change the way you're currently attracting people to booking on your calendar and the amount of steps they have to go through, you'll find your conversations will be so much smoother and you'll close at a much higher rate. So now we're going to move to the third reason why you might not be closing on the phone, and we are going to be moving into the conversation now, what you're actually saying and doing on that phone call to close someone, or perhaps not close someone. We've already spoken about the need to get them on the phone in the right way, and now let's talk about how you start the conversation, because this is the third thing. If you are starting your conversations in a way that is too friendly, that is becoming buddy-buddy with that person, if you spend 10 or 15 minutes at the beginning of a conversation becoming friends, okay, that is going to lead to you getting a no at the end of the phone call. We are not taking these enrollment calls, as we call them, or strategy sessions, or sales calls, whatever you call it. We're not taking them to make friends. We're taking them to coach someone through a conversation and see if the outcome is to become a client. So rather than making loads of small talk in the beginning for 10 or 15 minutes, we've got to pull that right back. And you take the first 60 seconds in the conversation and you can ask them a couple questions to be polite and be friendly, but then you move straight on with the process and you don't make any more small talk. You don't cross that friend zone. You need to and want to remain the authority on the phone call. Now, moving on from the introduction of the phone conversation, here's the fourth thing and the next step where you might be going wrong. You may not be framing the conversation correctly. Here's what I mean. To frame a conversation is to set the parameters of the call, to explain how it's going to work, how it's going to happen, and make sure that everyone is on the same page. And the way that we need to be framing this conversation is that we are the one leading the conversation. There's going to be a lot of Q&A on a sales call. There's going to be a lot of questions coming from you and a lot of answers coming from them. And if you don't frame it correctly, it's going to go the other way around. If you allow the person you're on the other end of the phone with to ask you the questions and you're on the back foot giving the answers, then they are in the power position, they are in the authority seat, and you're going to get to the end of the phone call and you have no leverage to lead someone to making a buying decision because they're the one in control. So you need to take a bit of time in the beginning of these phone conversations to explain to them how the conversation's going to run, why it is you're on the phone, the fact that you have some questions for them that's going to uncover where they're at and whether you can help. And if you can help, you are going to take some time and explain what that might look like. By framing it like this, again, you are now in the leadership position. They feel more comfortable because they can settle into the conversation knowing that they're being led, and you'll find the conversation will be much smoother. The fifth mistake that you might be making is that you are not uncovering enough of the prospect's pain that will lead them to a buying decision. If you keep your conversations very surface level, then their pain has not been brought to the surface. If their pain for the scenario has not been brought to the surface, they will not have any urgency to make a buying decision. You should probably rewind that and go back and listen to what I just said again. So what we need to be doing through our line of questioning is we need to be bringing that pain to the surface, asking them questions that's going to expose how they're really feeling about the situation. What are they going to do if they don't get this solved? How do they intend to move forward? What other areas of their life is this impacting and how is it making them feel? All of these types of questions is going to remind them that this is an urgent thing that they need to make a decision on to move forward, and it's going to prime that person and get them into a better state of mind to make a buying decision to better their life. So we're into the final two things now, the two mistakes that you might be making, and if you are, it's the reason you're not closing. Number 6 is not pre-handling objections. If you're not doing this, you're not going to be closing, right? What people often do is they wait until the very end of the conversation, they've made the offer, they're trying to close the prospect, and now they're being hit with all these objections, all these reasons why they don't want to do it, why they're fearful, why they're concerned. And here you are on the back foot trying to handle all of these objections in one go. What we need to be doing, and it's quite an advanced sales strategy, but it's very easy to implement, is we pre-handle objections and we remove their ability to be roadblocks at the end of the conversation. So here's what you do. You make a list on a piece of A4 paper on your notepad. You make a list of all the possible reasons why someone won't join your program, or maybe would be hesitant, or might want to think about it. And you go back over all of your previous conversations and you take all of that information, you put it on the sheet as well, all the reasons why someone hasn't joined in the past. You put them down in a sheet. And you plan strategically moments in the conversation where you're going to bring these things into the light. Let's say it's the spouse objection, right? Somebody says, you get to the very end of the conversation and somebody says, great, let me think about it. I just need to speak to my spouse. I don't make decisions unless I speak to my partner. You have very little you can say to that to change their mind. However, if we ask them earlier on in the conversation, do you have anyone, by the way, that you make decisions with, or do you make decisions by yourself? They're either going to say one of two things. They're either going to say, no, I make decisions by myself. There's no one else in the picture. And that has removed the ability for that to come up later on in the conversation. Or the second option will arise, which is where they say, actually, yes, I do. I don't make decisions unless I speak to my spouse or my partner. And we found that out in 10 minutes in the phone conversation. And then we endeavor to rebook the phone conversation and not go any further until we can get both decision makers on the phone. So that's just one example, and you need to look at your list and all of the possible reasons. You need to hard bake that into the conversation so that they cannot arise out the other end. If you want some more help on this part in particular, I've actually got a free gift for you. It's that important. I've got this thing called a sales call objection blocker. It's my free gift to you. We go over the 3 primary reasons why someone would not join your program at the end of the phone call, and exactly what to say and do to handle each one of those. It's an amazing resource. It's my free gift to you. There's a link somewhere in the description box or the top comment. Just give me your name and email, tell me where to send it, I'll get it straight out to you. So I'm gonna give you number 7 now, but I actually have a bonus 8th tip that I'm gonna give you in just a moment. Number 7 is that you might be offering to the wrong people. We talked about in point number 1, the importance of not even speaking to the wrong people and having unqualified people on the phone with you. But what can also happen is you can do all the stuff we've already spoken about. You can be ending up on the phone with someone. You can go through that conversation and you can be feeling like it's really not right that you offer to this person, but the pressure of needing to grow your business and to produce revenue has you offering to someone and hoping that someone joins your program that you know is really not a good fit. And by doing that, you are going to be cannibalizing your ability to grow in the long term. You're trying to find a short-term win, and it's going to be affecting the long-term wins, because the more you offer to everyone and you're not grounded on exactly who your dream client avatar is and sticking to it, you'll find that everything will just be watered down. Whereas if you do what I call the push and the pull in marketing, if you push away the wrong people, it actually draws the right people to you even more so. The more you get used to on these conversations, saying no to some people, turning people away, it might feel very alien to you, but by doing that, your conviction will be displayed when you're speaking to the right people and offering them a spot. And you'll find the conversions over here go up so much so that it dwarfs the couple of people that you push away from time to time. And here's my bonus tip, number 8. If you are not already doing this, you are leaving so much money on the table. When you get to the point in a phone conversation, when the person says, yes, I'm in, don't make the mistake of delaying the payment. Meaning, okay, great, sounds awesome. I'm gonna send you an invoice to your email inbox. Just get that invoice sorted and we'll get moving forward. You will lose so many sales by doing that. You'll have people that ghost you. You'll have people that change their mind and get cold feet. You'll have people that just go in a different direction because in that time, maybe they spoke to one of your competitors and they were more proactive in taking the payment and they landed the client. So if you get a yes on the phone, then have a payment window open on your laptop and endeavor to take the payment right there and then on the phone. Strike while the iron is hot, get the client enrolled, get them into your process, and enjoy the revenue. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to learn more about the first 2 points that I mentioned about getting the right people on the phone, I have another video for you up here. Go ahead and click on that, and that will take you through that process of indoctrinating people further before you get on the phone with them so that you can convert higher. Don't forget to like this video. It really supports the channel. Subscribe to this channel as well for our future videos, and I'll see you very soon.